Mikasa Sukasa. You Eddie, right?
Yeah.
Look like Eddie Guerrero, man. You like to watch wrestling?
Yep.
Have you ever watched wrestling? On weed? That's the way to see it, man! It's rock!
We coming for you, nigga.
Mikasa Sukasa. You Eddie, right?
Yeah.
Look like Eddie Guerrero, man. You like to watch wrestling?
Yep.
Have you ever watched wrestling? On weed? That's the way to see it, man! It's
What up, world? What up, world? Your boy Physics in. You know what time it is. It's your WoW Nation champion bringing you to the next WoW news joint on April 6th, 2022. On today's episode, we're talking about the fallout that happened at the Wrestlemania, which wasn't much, but we are here and we're going to bring you all the news that has happened, and we'll see you right after this.
This is my yard now. It doesn't matter what
As you see, I am repping the Sun. Shout out to Lalo, that's a Lakers fan. Sorry that your team is no longer going to be able to be in the playoffs, but it is what it is, and it ain't fun when a rabbit got the gun, as some people like to say. So shout out to everybody that's in here. Let me make sure this camera's nice, fixing it. to get all of this greatness inside of it. All right, we are here. Shout out to everybody that's up in here. Kid, get money. Wow Nation, Gruss, as he always says, almost is inevitable, which seems to be the case because he is with the Hurt Business. And just like the black and white and the silver and platinum and the red and black NWO, we now have the gold and platinum new Hurt Business. I wonder who'll be in it. Maybe Big Swole. I don't know. You know, she seems unoccupied at the moment, so who knows? But let's get to the first news story of the day. And if you've seen a picture, you know we have, that being elite crew, that Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks. But for our first news joint today, it's the fallout from the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes showing up to WWE. Kid Money says, "Don't hurt Laylo's feelings. They have enough championships to calm themselves down. Like, we're taking every little victory we have. Next up is winning our first championship, and if that happens, you will not see me because I will be in Phoenix celebrating. So, it is going to be what it is." But we all know what happened this past Saturday. We all knew it was going to happen. I've been reporting it for a while. Cody Rhodes showed up to WrestleMania, and of course, when that happens, everybody has something to say because we all been trying to figure out what happened and what made Cody Rhodes leave AEW. And from what we've seen, everything seems to be kosher. He also did his Raw after WrestleMania promo, which was unscripted. They allow him to do what he wanted to do and basically set what his ideal goal was, which is to, unlike his dad on that day in September in 1977, he was going to win the WWE Championship, which I guarantee that's going to happen. Also, that date, I believe, is a Monday. In September. So I'm not saying, but I'm saying possibly, it could happen. But he basically laid down what his goals are and why he came back to WWE storyline wise and most likely kayfabe wise as well. But as far as that and everything that goes on between him and AEW, all talk of conflict and the dreaded backstage heat has largely been confined to anonymously sourced reports. All Elite owner, president, and booker Tony Khan had nothing but good things to say about Cody and Brandy Rhodes. Rhodes' fellow AEW founder and executive vice president Kenny Omega chalked it up to different visions. That's similar to the message that Cody's been putting forward since he's been interviewed since Saturday from WrestleMania. But while Rhodes insisted he'll never do a shoot interview about the end of his run with AEW, never say never. All it takes is one person to do a shoot interview, and then Cody's going to come back and then imply what his truth is as well. So it's like, never say you're never going to do it. Once one person starts it up, it's going to just go back and forth. There were hints of something more than strictly professional differences. Cody vaguely referred to a personal matter they couldn't move past in one article, and then another told Ariel Helwani, I can't comment on the personal matter itself. But he did state when talking to Ariel Helwani, I had a wonderful experience there, and I feel the experience had maxed out. You never want to start getting into a situation where the love goes away. I want to keep the love. I know Matt, Nick, and Kenny. I don't know if they sit in circles and hate on me or talk poorly about me. I hope they wouldn't. But if they don't know, I try to tell them on a regular basis. Absolutely love those guys. Instrumental, and we did it together. I helped them. They helped me. So I have nothing but love, and it'll always be that way. And of course, on Twitter, Cody Rhodes put that wrestling as a love story, and as the Young Bucks like to do, they went to their Twitter bio and they wrote the story of a couple of self-made SoCal kids who came from nothing and built a gigantic movement was never going to be romantic enough for you, since wrestling is a love story. Nobody knows what these personal differences is. When you say personal, that means it hit close to home, it hit close to heart. And whatever it was enough to make him go. Even Cody said that if it was a money issue, he knew that Tony Khan would pay up. He knew that. So it was something a lot deeper. I don't know if we'll ever find out. I guess if we do find out, it's probably going to be because of the Young Bucks. I feel like they're not under talking about exactly what's going on or even applying what's going on, especially with things like being the elite. That's kind of what they built a lot of their platform on. So it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case when it comes to Cody and Young Bucks and what is next between what's going on between them, and if we will ever find out. I would say give it a year. Um, if things start getting hectic, if you know little jabs start going back and forth, we will find out. Let me fix this real quick. Let's back up a bit. For y'all tool up on me. All right, much better. Center myself. Boom, boom, boom. But no, it's going to be quite interesting to see like where do we go from here. So just where we are. WWE had an amazing weekend. I mean, that last hour of Saturday night from Bianca Belair to the end with seeing Stone Cold actually wrestle. And I told y'all in the news that if they were going to main event, that Stone Cold was going to wrestle. Once you saw the knee braces, that's exactly what happened. And everything from Bianca Belair, and Becky Lynch, the clinic they put on, then following that up with Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, like they're on a high. And then not only that, they had their highest numbers they had in a long time, which I will talk about later on. So it's like they're on a high, and tonight AEW got to show improve. And let's also talk about Raw after WrestleMania. I feel like we're never going to get that feeling of Raw after WrestleMania like we used to anymore. Due to the fact that now, you know, WWE can't poach these big names from other areas now. The reason why they are looking at younger talent that's 25 and under that have nothing to do with wrestling, which they kind of started when they were aiming for Jade Cargill until she decided to leave. And now look at her now. It's because now everybody has multiple places they can go to. If you're an indie star, you can go to AEW or WWE or NXT, which is still under WWE, or now Ring of Honor, which is now under AEW. So you have these multiple places you can go to. So now it's really, if somebody big's contract in AEW ends, well, the only other place they're going to is WWE. And if somebody in WWE gets fired, most likely, or the contract ends, which is less likely, they usually get fired, they're going to AEW or now Ring of Honor. So it's just basically people just swapping each other. At this moment, they might as well start doing trades and just figuring it out from there, because everybody's just going across the interstate when it comes to both of them both being in Florida. One's they're either going to Orlando or they're going to Jacksonville, and that's just exactly what it is. And unfortunately, the Raw at the WrestleMania is not going to be this big grandiose thing due to that. Kid Get Money says, if knee braces are on, ass whooping follows. That is true. What we got here? When Kid Get Money says, when Cody becomes a champ, he'll ultimately have the last laugh. Yeah, he will. And it's going to be a huge story. He's going to be in Sports Illustrated. He might pop up in on ESPN, and the whole conversation is, the son of the plumber, the son of one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, Daddy, the Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. It's going to be big news. Like, all in all, storyline wise, as far as a life goes in wrestling, he played it right. He like built his own thing, his own kingdom. Came back, get a ton of money pushed to him, and he's going to get a belt. We all know he is. It's just a matter of when. Like, he wins in the end. Kid Get Money says Undisputed Elite is nowhere near as good as Undisputed Era, and it had a gang sign. True that. Also, why did they needed a better name? Like, the fact they just were like, let's check Era and put Elite. That was so stupid. I don't know why they decided to do any of that. Gruss says Cody has opened the Stargate. Shout out Stardust. In the movie Stargate. More AEW talent coming soon. Yeah. And, you hear wrestlers now in AEW like MJF. Yes, it is a part of his character, but he is going to let that contract expire, because it would be stupid of him to not see how much money he can get from either side. And pockets run deep on both. And how much are you willing to spend? And right now for Tony Khan is how much are you willing to invest before 2020 for it comes, because it'll be here before you know it, and you got to pay the man. Next up, let's talk about the rest of the fallout from WrestleMania. Let me get a good sip of coffee. That's what's taking me so long. I'm sorry about that, y'all. Cody Rhodes is reportedly a top merchandise mover for WWE already. WWE sold out all Rhodes t-shirts that were put on sale during WrestleMania weekend, according to PW Insider. This goes for AT&T Stadium and the Superstore access. Let's see if he can keep this up, because it just doesn't start right there. Also, it was really funny. One of his merchandise is a video game reference, which is funny because usually when it comes to shirts, merchandise, and video game, that's a person whose initials go by KO, and I'm not talking about Kevin Owens. So I'm just gonna say it was quite interesting that he ended up with a video game, a video game shirt. So that's where we are. Kid Get Money says Dak Prescott overpay kind of deal is going to be going on around in WrestleMania. Yeah, it's going to be WCW again. Y'all remember WCW and all of the crazy deals, and not only crazy deals allow them to be able to book themselves. I mean, something sounds very familiar that is doing that right now, but I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Gruss says the Cody shirts were hard as fuck to find in the stadium. I can only imagine. I remember the reports were soon as he came out, the shirts weren't out yet, but I knew it was like soon as they dropped, they were gone. Like I remember when Kofi won his championship. I was there. Layla was there somewhere else. We weren't together, and I don't know if we were doing wrestling on weed at the time. Oh, my bad. Round Nation. That's what our name is. I don't think we were doing it at the time, but I remember after it dropped, like everybody left to go get one of those shirts. It wasn't a 2-day event, so you only had one night to get that shirt because they premiered it then, and everybody was trying to get one because, baby, we saw history. Kevin Owens knew about the Stone Cold WrestleMania plans in January, and Fightful Select said Steve Austin had already been pitched on the match at that point. Beyond that, plans were kept secret, with Vince McMahon telling producers that they would decide exactly what to do close to the day of the show as to make sure Austin was comfortable with things. Seems they were doing that just to throw everybody off, to not let them know that there was going to actually be a match. It's just me looking at everything. The tea leaves just said there was going to be a match, and we got to see Austin's final match. His first match he'd ever done was in Dallas. His last match was in Dallas. We actually knew he was retiring because we did not know that when he faced The Rock. He faced him, and then he just disappeared into the ether. He didn't disappear. He was around for a while, but he was done wrestling. So it is what it is, but I'm glad we got to see it. 2022, we got to see Stone Cold wrestle. We got to see Vince McMahon live up to him taking one of the worst stunners. We got to see Austin Theory try to go up there in the Rock echelon of taking great stunners. So we were just in bliss for that last hour of WrestleMania, and it just shows how entertaining wrestling can be outside of it just being strictly pro wrestling. And a lot of people got mad. Dave Meltzer, he was very pissy about some of the matches. But it is what it is. A shout out to Kevin Owens. He got to do something that somebody that used to make fun of him wearing shirts in an indie scene not be able to do, and that's face Stone Cold. It's kind of crazy that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, when he signed those renewing contracts, they kind of knew what they were doing. I would say just that match alone for Kevin Owens was already was worth signing a contract. You got to face Stone Cold. Who can say that? CM Punk can't say that. And Sami Zayn gets to just have fun. And I wouldn't be surprised we see him win another championship run down the line, because as we know, there's one thing Vince loves, and that's when people are willing to do things that they normally wouldn't do, but succeed in doing it. And with the whole Jackass thing, he succeeded. So it's going to be quite interesting to see where those two end up at the end. Gruss said sports entertainment is needed. Pearl all the time can be boring. I mean, Young Bucks know that. It was the reason why Jim Cornette doesn't like them. Is because they don't take wrestling seriously. They like to have fun. And I was remember somebody asked me about like all the false finishes, and I was like, you got to blame the indie scene for that. That was never really a thing of, well, not false finishes, but protecting moves. I was like, that was an indie scene thing. And once it came into the WWE, you know, usually you only got false finishes is when you were at WrestleMania or something big. It was never just at a regular spot. But you know, here we are now, and it's kind of the norm. But you know, it's not going to stop any time soon. Based on the cards for post WrestleMania live events, it looks like Drew McIntyre is next in line for new undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns. While WrestleMania Saturday did have some timing issues, Fightful Select reports McIntyre made the call to cut his entrance from the show because he preferred to be able to have a more personal connection to the crowd. The people brought in for the entrance still got paid and received all access passes to the pay-per-view. I think he had like a he was going to go full Ireland with it, but I mean full Scottish with it, but didn't happen. Fightful Select says Rhea Ripley and Tommaso Ciampa were pitched as possible members of the new Edge stable with Damian Priest. It's not known if the pitches were approved. Think it would be dope to have Rhea there. Tommaso, Rhea Ripley fits. I feel like she should definitely go there. Gable Steveson flew back to Minnesota after WrestleMania Sunday per PW Insider. He'll start as a regular on Raw after the college semester ends. On Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer said the reason The Miz turned on Logan Paul was because Paul worked it into his deal that he would be a babyface by the time the angle was over. I didn't get him over as babyface. He got The Miz over as a babyface, so, you know, that helped. And PW Insider notes that Brock Lesnar flew home almost immediately after WrestleMania 38 concluded. Shane McMahon was there for all the WWE shows throughout the weekend, but was with his sons, and Alexa Bliss wasn't in Dallas at all. I know her Alexa's Playground was at the Superstar Access, but she wasn't. I don't know what they're doing with her. Kind of seems like they have nothing. They don't know what to do with her. It's the same thing with Asuka. They don't know what to do with her, so she's just waiting. And unfortunately, they don't even have her waiting in catering. She's just at home. So because it is what it is at the moment. It's gonna be quite interesting. I would love to see the first person that faces Bianca Belair be Asuka. Thought that was going to be the case, or somebody was going to come out, or you know, Big Swole. Like they have to start finding contenders outside of the 4 horsewomen for Bianca Belair until we can get to SummerSlam. But we'll see what everybody's talking about. If they pay Drew's Kill Crew, why couldn't they pay the WrestleMania Access volunteers? Oh, we got some tea. All right. I guess they got to unionize, but you know how WWE's with unions. Kid Vince Stunner will forever be edited. Hope you save the real footage. Yeah, because the dude that edited, that dude was a masterclass in editing. I wrote that on Twitter on my personal Twitter page, and he also liked it. So that dude knows what he's doing. He's making sure that, you know, nobody's gonna see how horrible that was. Kigama said Asha should have came out blue to green missing Bianca's black guy. That would have been great. That would have been a great start. If you ask me, it would have. But let's get to some quick hits. John Moxley is working with a hamstring injury he suffered during training prior to working GCW shows during WrestleMania week, says Wrestling Observer Radio Dave Meltzer. Hope he gets well soon. TJ Wilson, aka Tyson Kidd, is back in his role as a producer at WWE after taking a leave of absence in January, reports Wrestling Observer newsletter. Thank God, and don't let him miss another Royal Rumble, him or Triple H, because we saw how the Royal Rumble was this past year. Mr. also said AAA has basically given Tony Khan the call as to who will win Wednesday's FTR Young Bucks match for the AAA and Ring of Honor tag titles. So it's going down tonight. AAA made the call. They also said the Elias character has been removed from their internal WWE roster, so he's only going to be Ezekiel moving forward. He's also a baby face. I don't know why they removed Elias because Ezekiel is his younger brother. They're not the same person. From insiders, they said they saw WWE started filming interviews for the upcoming A&E series WWE Rivals this past weekend. Wonder who they're gonna have. I mean, you gotta have Shawn versus Brett, Brett versus Stone Cold. You know, the Rock versus Stone Cold. The rivalries that we all know. Randy Orton versus John Cena, which was like 4,000 times. Per Meltzer own WR, Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor did over 20,000 buys on pay-per-view, which doesn't include Honor Club subscribers. Monday's live post WrestleMania 38 edition of WWE Raw drew an average of 2.101 million viewers on USA Network, according to Nielsen via Show Buzz Daily. For the week show, the first hour drew 2.318 million, then 2.114 for the second hour, and the final was 1.871, which was up from all last week, 2.3 just for Cody. This week's first hour viewership is the best in over 2 years. That's that Cody factor. Since the March 16, 2020 episode, which was the first empty arena Raw, which featured a Royal Rumble match airing in hours 1 and 2, and WWE Hall of Famer Steve Austin appearing in hour 3 for 316 day. Also, think about that. That Royal Rumble, that was Tyson Kidd Triple H. Highest. And also people were just curious how they were going to do a show during the pandemic. But yeah. Now, Gross says that Ezekiel character is going to be an instant fail. Yeah, it doesn't look good right now. I don't know. They got to figure out him more just being an antagonizing babyface and a comedy relief. They got to figure out what else his character has. Now let's talk about what's going on tonight in the world of wrestling. Tonight is AEW Dynamite on TBS live from the Agnes Arena in Boston, Massachusetts. Dynamite will be headlining by the latest qualifiers for the Owen Hart Foundation men and women's tournament and a huge match for the AAA World Tag Team titles and Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles, plus a table match. So what do we have? We have new AEW and Ring of Honor star Samoa Joe versus Max Caster and the first qualifying match for the Owen Hart Foundation men's tournament. This will be Joe's AEW debut. That man is going all the way to the finals. Let's just say it right there. And also Samoa Joe, it felt like he was going to show up at Ring of Honor. He showed up at Ring of Honor. He's part of AEW as well. All those young cats that are looking for a spot. I'm sorry. Former WWE people are coming in, and they're going to take that spot. And I mean, also, outside of him winning the Ring of Honor Championship, which seems like it's going to be the case, him and Jonathan Gresham, which is going to be a banger of a match. Unfortunately, I don't even see him winning the AEW World Championship, and that's sad. Because he should be a world champion everywhere he goes. But it doesn't seem like it's going to be the case. Sheeta versus Julia Hart in a third qualifying match for the Owen Hart Foundation women's tournament. Winner joins Tony Storm and Jamie Hayter as confirmed entrance. We have Shawn Dean versus Shawn Spears, the battle with the Shawns. Christian Cage versus Adam Cole. The Hardys versus the Butcher and the Blade in a tables match. And FTR defends the AAA World Tag Team titles and the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles against the Young Bucks. Make sure to tune in tomorrow to see what Laylo says about what happened and give you those blunt ratings for AEW Dynamite. Gruss says, I would have had Elias Jones edge coat. I would have as well, but I'm pretty sure he had already shaved off his beard by then, and he would have looked better in that coat with the beard. Clean shaven Elias is just too baby facious. Like he's just too clean. He looks like he will help me at Best Buy. Like we need rugged Elias and not Ezekiel. But thank you for being here with me. Could have been anywhere else in the world, but you were here with me. I thank you for that. I will see you on Friday. Enjoy some wrestling. And until then, peace.
Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to know when we go live next. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Wrestling on We, and thanks for watching.